Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everybody else. This is John Paval with Access Arts Live for our usual Monday big stage production live stream roundup. And we have some lovely, interesting concerts for you this week. Not an awful lot of them. We are right in this period between the end of the season for many of the top orchestras, at least in the Northern Hemisphere, and then the beginning of the big festival season, which comes up over the coming weeks. And so this is the lull between the storm, because once the festival season gets going, I will have my hands full keeping up with everything that's going on. Now, before I go any further, I want to remind you, as ever, if you're watching this on YouTube, I'm sorry, let me start again. If you're watching this on Facebook, please like the video. If you're watching this on any of our other platforms, please follow and or subscribe to Access Arts Live. We're on YouTube, X, TikTok, Instagram, Threads, and LinkedIn. So you can join us and follow us on whatever platform you like, and be sure then that you don't miss the more than 1,000 live links to live performances online, which we put out every year. So having said that, let me move on to the first of this week's offerings, because it's going to be happening in just a few minutes time, which is one reason why we started at 6:30 this evening. And this concert raises a mystery which haunts this week's big stage productions for me. And that mystery is this: how does it happen that two fine orchestras on different continents, in different hemispheres, somehow came to the conclusion this week that they should play Mozart and Strauss in the same concert? The first of these is coming up in a little under a half an hour, so let me tell you about it so you can get ready to go over and watch it. I should be done by then, by the time it starts, so you can watch this through and then just hop on over to them. Today, Monday, June 30th, Artistic Director and Chief Conductor Dimitris Botinis leads the Shostakovich, or St. Petersburg Philharmonic, in Mozart's Piano Concerto No. 27, with award-winning pianist Konstantin Emelyanov, and Strauss's Alpine Symphony to close the season. That's right. Now, I have no problem with doing so. But my question here that I have is, how does this orchestra and another orchestra at the end of the week end up both putting together Mozart and Richard Strauss? But anyway, let me tell you about this one. The soloist, first of all, Konstantin Emelyanov, and I think I have his picture up there for you. He's a graduate of the Tchaikovsky Conservatory in Moscow. He also studied at the Rachmaninoff Academy in Catania, Italy, back in 2017, 2018. And in 2017, he won the Bronze Award at the 16th International Tchaikovsky Competition, which is a big deal. Plus, he also won the Audience Award, given out by Musical Life magazine in connection with that same competition. And again, in 2022, he won the Audience Prize at the International German Piano Awards. So audiences like this guy, and you may too. He's done recitals, where's he done? He's done recitals at the Teatro Carlo Felice in Genoa, at the Seoul Arts Center. He's done it in Beijing at the National Center for the Performing Arts, the Mariinsky Concert Hall, of course, the Tchaikovsky Concert Hall, etc., the Zaraja Grand Hall. You would expect that from a prize winner in Russia. He's got a new CD out. Came out, well, it's not all that new, 2 years old. Came out in March 2023 with music by Debussy, Prokofiev, and Barber. And it got 5 stars from both Diapason and Classica magazines. So this guy comes as a certified audience pleaser, but also a critics pleaser with 5-star awards for his latest recording. As for Dimitris Botinis, He is the artistic director and principal conductor of the St. Petersburg Symphony Orchestra since last year, since September 2024. I don't think he's been there a lot, though. He was there for an opening concert and this closing concert, and they make the point of saying that it's that he's there for the closing concert because in 2022 he took on the job of music director and principal conductor at the Novosibirsk Philharmonic, which is quite a distance away from Moscow. So, and I don't know if he'll be continuing that or not. He comes from a musical family. He's Dimitris Botinis Jr. His father, Dimitris Botinis Sr., was also a conductor and gave him his first lessons. And yes, both of those, the name Botinis is not Russian, it's Greek, and it's a Greek family that he comes from. So not only has he been a conductor in Russia, but he's also been a conductor with some of your top Greek orchestras, the Thessalonica State Symphony Orchestra, the National Symphony Orchestra of Greek Radio, and the Greek National Opera. He was also, back in the teens, he was the chief conductor of the North Caucasus Philharmonic, and he's been a conductor at the Moscow Philharmonic from 2021 to 2023, and then he was an assistant there. These are two top people, and I wanted to make sure that we got word out to you. So actually, a couple hours ago, I put out a notice on our Facebook page and on some of our other pages where we can put out written notices. So I hope some of you have noticed it and may tune in to enjoy it. It's free of charge. It's on YouTube. And this is one of the rare occasions when I actually knew about a Petersburg Phil live stream happening, because most of the time I can't figure out their website when they're doing what, and I just don't know. So let's move on then to the next concert to tell you about, which again, curiously, combines both Mozart and Richard Strauss, and I don't see how they go together. I mean, Mozart is, it's lovely, Mozart, but he's not at all a German romantic, and I don't see how you put him together with a German romantic. And as these orchestras, both of these orchestras have done, the next one I'm going to tell you about. Friday, July 4th, the Sao Paulo Philharmonic live streams an overture by Emily Meyer, a piano concerto by Mozart, and Richard Strauss's Sinfonia Domestica, with Brazilian pianist Cristian Budu joining in. That will be at 1 o'clock European time, 7 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning in Europe, 7 o'clock in the evening down here at Eastern Daylight Time, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Pacific Daylight Time, because it's coming from Brazil. And I think, now this is a very interesting concert. I'm going to be able to, we have a little extra time since we don't have that many concerts to talk about. There's only one more big stage production for me to tell you about. So I have the leisure of being able to talk to you about Emily Meyer, whom I did not know about, but there are so many more things I don't know about than the things I do know about. And so let me grace you with a photo of Emily Meyer. Emily Meyer she was known as the female Beethoven in her time, which was the 1880s. She lived from 1812 to 1883, so she had about a 70-year run. She's a German romantic music composer. I mean, that was the only way to compose music in Germany at the time. And she composed 8 symphonies and numerous chamber works, piano sonatas, orchestral overtures. They're going to be doing Meyer's overture in D minor, which she composed in 1850. So she would have been sort of at the height of her career at the time, maybe the height of her powers. When you read up on her, they'll tell you that she achieved wide recognition and performances of her music across Germany, but they may not tell you she was co-director of the Berlin Opera House for a time, and that was nearly unheard of in those times for a woman to be a co-director of anything of note. Performers, yes, Clara Schumann was tearing up the pea patch all over Europe in the 19th century, but co-directing something, that's a little bit different. Anyway, so this is very interesting. And the reason they put her in there is maybe because the musicologists tell us that Emily Meyer, or Meyer, as the Germans would call her, I would think, was influenced by Mozart during her formative years. Interesting composer. You know, you learn something. I learned so many new things as we're going along the way. So now let me tell you a little bit more. And then, okay, after that, then they'll do Mozart's Piano Concerto number 20 in D minor, Koelschel 466. I don't know why, but, well, maybe because it has to do with Mayer, but then why put it together? The two main pieces are the Mozart and Richard Strauss Sinfonia Domestica, Opus 53. Let me tell you a little bit about the pianist that's going to be playing the Mozart thing first, and then I will get to the Sinfonia Domestica because I want to show you some things about it. The pianist here, I got to scroll down to my notes, is Cristian Budu. All you really need to know about Cristian Budu is that he's represented by the Arte Matriz artist agency in Brazil, and I keep coming across top Brazilian singers and musicians, and they all seem to be represented by Arte Matriz. I don't know if Arte Matriz is new or whatever, but they seem to be cornering the market on the top people. I mean, it seems to be a sign that someone's really good if they're with Arte Matriz. He graduated from Sao Paulo University, but then he went to the New England Conservatory in Boston. He got a special scholarship and got a master's in piano performance there. While he was there, he put together a group called Group Muse, which was partnered with the Boston Symphony Orchestra, and it became a platform for hosting recitals and special events involving classical music around the world. So he's quite a comer, and he has all the marks of being really up and coming, and he'll be playing for you Mozart's Piano Concerto number 20 in D minor. So all you Mozart lovers out there, this is for you. Now, and the conductor, let me tell you about the conductor before I finally get down to telling you about this Strauss piece. He's a German conductor who lives in the Netherlands. Now, this is an interesting story about this guy. From 2009 to 2020, Albrecht was chief conductor of the Dutch National Opera, the Netherlands Chamber Orchestra, and the Netherlands Phil for like 11 years. Then in 2019, at the International Opera Award ceremony in London, they named him Conductor of the Year for 2019. At the end of that year, 2019, 2020, he quits all three and walks away. So I think what happened was, he just got tired of running three different orchestras. Anyway, last October, he guest conducted at the more modest, well, maybe I'm wrong for saying that, but the Antwerp Symphony Orchestra. They liked him so much, they appointed him as their next chief conductor starting in 2026 and 2027. He'll be their chief conductor designate in the coming year. So, and he too, like Botinis at St. Petersburg, is from a musical family. His father was a conductor. So, and he studied with, he was an assistant to Claudio Abbado for a while when he was learning. So he got some, and he was a guest conductor with the Deutsche Oper in Berlin, the German opera in Berlin. And he was with the Strasbourg Phil for a while back before the teens, the 20-teens. So, but what I want to tell you about now is this piece, the Sinfonia Domestica by Strauss, which is an interesting piece. Usually I don't have the time that I can go into this detail about an individual piece, but let me show you a picture of here. This is a piece about Richard Strauss's family. I think it was the next piece he wrote after Ein Heldenleben, a hero's life, which was about very autobiographical. I guess the guy was very autobiographical in a lot of what he composed. And that was about, the striving to succeed as an artist, which he did. So this is his wife and his son. And then in the early 1900s, he's established. So he sits down and decides to write a piece about domestic tranquility and how much he enjoys it. So, and it's written about those three. Now, he premiered it at Carnegie Hall in 1904. Was a huge success. So this was not one of those great pieces that failed at first blush. And it was so successful that they scheduled 2 more performances in a department store, Wanamaker's department store in New York, and they paid him $1,000, which was a lot of money at the time, to do 2 more performances. They had to clear an entire floor of this department house for the concert, and 6,000 people attended the 2 concerts together. Well, the New York and the German press were just scandalized by it. This was horrible commercialization of the arts. But Gustav Mahler then picked up the piece and debuted it in Vienna. So I think that kind of gave it a little more sheen to the piece and maybe led to his being forgiven for it. Anyway, so that's a very interesting piece. The other thing I wanted to show you about this piece is you can go to Wikipedia, and they have different themes from this symphony that you can hear. For instance, I'll play a couple of them, but there's a whole lot there, about a dozen. So I'm not going to take the time to play more than that. Here's one. This is the husband's theme in F major, the easygoing gemächlich husband, because this is about domestic tranquility. I'll play it for you again. Bum, and then here's the dreamy father, the träumerisch father. Now, there's another one that I think might be interesting, because I think it's about an argument. Where is it? Here, this one is, I think this is about a merry dispute. It's a double fugue. and just one more here, this one. Anyway, if that interests you, before Friday, you can go look it up on Wikipedia, so that in advance of enjoying the live stream, you'll know exactly what they're doing. How about that? We have one more big stage production I want to tell you about. And it is the National Symphony Orchestra Capital 4th concert. Friday, July 4th, the National Symphony Orchestra leads a massive American 4th of July concert from the lawn of the White House, with Army choruses and musicians and popular music acts like the Beach Boys and the Temptations. That'll be at 8 o'clock in the evening, Eastern Daylight Time, 5 o'clock on the West Coast, 2 o'clock in the morning in Europe. I'm not sure who would want to watch this American patriotic celebration from Europe, but 10 in the morning, Saturday morning, down under in Australia. Australians like Americans, It's the National Symphony Orchestra, which is the resident orchestra at the Kennedy Center. They're pretty good. And it's going to be directed by a premier Pops Orchestra conductor, Jack Everly from Indiana. This is the 45th anniversary of what they call the Capital 4th concert. Along with the National Symphony, there'll be the Choral Arts Society of Washington, Patrick Lundy and the Ministers of Music, the United States Army Band, the United States Army Herald Trumpets, the United States Army Chorus, Beach Boys, Temptations, etc. So if you're looking, and afterwards, there's a fireworks spectacular, which will be covered by 20 different cameras positioned around Washington, D.C. to give you coverage like you never get of a fireworks spectacle. And it's all, you can follow it all on the YouTube channel of the Public Broadcasting System. So there they're doing something that no one can be controversial about, because there is a good deal of controversy about them these days. So that's what we have for you this week in terms of big stage production live streams. But I want to mention one more thing to you while we're here, because it's tonight, and it's not a big stage production, but it's a chamber music production. It's the first in a series that's going to be happening. And so I want you to have a chance to know about it and tune into it. It's one of the summer festivals already starting up now. Monday, June 30th, the Bowdoin International Festival launches a full series of live streamed concerts over the next few weeks with the celebrated Ying Quartet and clarinetist Derek Bermel playing Schubert and an intriguing piece by Bermel himself. This will be at 7:30 in the evening Eastern Daylight Time, 4:30 in the afternoon on the West Coast, 1:30 in the morning here in Europe, but I guarantee you it's worth staying up for, and 9:30 in the morning, Tuesday morning, down under in Australia. They'll be doing Schubert String Quartet number 12 in C minor, the Quartet Satz, and then they'll finish up with Schubert String Quartet number 14 in D minor, the Death and the Maiden Quartet. Both lovely pieces. But the one I want to talk about most is Derek Bermel's piece, which comes in between. He's the clarinetist composer, and his piece is called A Short History of the Universe. Before we get to that, let me tell you a little bit first about the players. The Ying Quartet. Here's what the LA Times says about the Ying Quartet. The Ying Quartet came as close to the ideal as possible, delivering chamber music of astonishing, refreshing exaltation and exhilaration. Wow. Yeah, you don't need any other quotes than that. They are, you can see in the picture there, they are from Winnetka. And you know what I love about America? This is an American string quartet. They're of Asian heritage. It doesn't matter. They're Americans. I tell you, I've lived in Europe for decades. I'm still an American. I'm not French, though I've lived in France a long time. I'm not Swedish, though I've lived in Sweden a long time. Doesn't work that way. But in America, yeah. You know, you're born and raised in America. You're an American. First and foremost. And that's a great thing about it. Anyway, so that's their picture above. And then there's Derek, let me make sure I get his name right, Bermel, below on the clarinet and as a composer, because he's both. Anyway, they were formed in 1988 while they were all studying at Eastman School of Music in Rochester. And they are now resident string quartet at that school. And you know what they did? They started out in the 1990s living in the town of Jessup, Iowa, which is very small. And they were sponsored by the National Endowment for the Arts Chamber Music Rural Residencies Program. And and they were playing, you know, in grocery stores. And I mean, any place they could find, they'd play for 6 people sometimes for 600. This was a beautiful thing. There's a lot of good things about this Ying Quartet, and the 2 principal guys of the Ying Quartet took over the directorship of the Bowdoin International Music Festival about 10 years ago in 2014. So that's why they're kicking off this festival. But, you know, they've also played at places like Tanglewood, Aspen, San Miguel. They played at the top European festivals, etc. There are multiple Grammy nominees for recordings, but they only actually won one in 2005 in a recording they did with the Turtle Island String Quartet. They're regulars at the Bowdoin International Music Festival and the Aspen Music Festival. And who is Eric Bermel? Well, Bermel is a clarinetist and a composer. He's got an opera coming out, premiering later on in July, which I have the name somewhere in my notes. Anyway, for a time, he was faculty at the Institute for Advanced Study in Princeton. And he attended some lectures by Nina Arkani Hamed on space-time, gravity, and the multiverse. And he got inspired by it. And he had been talking with another quartet called the Jack Quartet about writing a clarinet quintet for them. And so he decided, well, he'll do one based on being inspired about gravity. And so A Short History of Time presents musical depictions of gravity expressed both horizontally in time, duration, speed, and vertically in space, pitch, contour. I don't. And what he says this: glissandi on the clarinet and in the strings spring away from and bounce back to the original notes. By exploring various ways of stretching and compacting or curving musical space-time, I hope to evince a sort of general relativity for the ears, unquote. That's what he says about it. So that sounds fascinating to me, especially when it's sandwiched between two very, very classical Schubert pieces. And the opera that's premiering in July is The House on Mango Street, which he composed with Sandra Cisneros, and it's at the Glimmerglass Festival. So I commend this to you. It's on a little later in the evening. What, about 6 hours? I'm not 6, 7 hours. I'm not 7:30 Eastern Daylight Time. But so the first thing you want to do is run over right now in another 3 minutes time to hear that the St. Petersburg Philharmonic free of charge, and then later on in the evening enjoy this terrific clarinet and string quartet piece by Derek Bermel. So anyway, that's what we have for you for Big Stage Productions and one smaller stage production this week. I will be back tomorrow. Listen, not only is there the Bowdoin International Music Festival starting up, but the Seattle Chamber Music Society Summer Festival is starting up now, and there will be plenty of live streams from both. Here's the difference between them: the Bowdoin live streams are all free of charge, and the Seattle Chamber Music Society, they're all $36 per concert live stream. They cost twice as much as that in person, but nonetheless, for those of you on a fixed or limited budget, the live streams like the Bowdoin International Music Festival are just a godsend and a gift. Anyway, I hope to see you again. Thanks for tuning in. If you like this live stream, please do repost it to any friends of yours or on any pages you know of, which are for music lovers, because we would really love to build up more viewership so that more and more people know about and have access to all of these live performances online, which are increasing every year. With that, I'll say ciao for now. And one more time, remind you, if you're watching this on Facebook, please like the video. If you're watching this on any of our other 6 platforms, please subscribe to and or follow Access Arts Live on YouTube, X, TikTok, Instagram, Threads, or LinkedIn.